Greetings and salutations. I am Pops, and we might be a couple of minutes early. Mags is on her way. Let's celebrate Star Wars properly, folks. And if you stopped by last night, you know I was a little under the weather, and I am thrilled to pay homage to May 25th, 1977, the real Star Wars Day. And yes, Star Wars Celebration is going on. Tomorrow is the debut of the first two episodes of Obi-Wan. They have dropped a trailer for Andor. There's plenty of Star Wars buzz to go around. However, what is really important here, folks? What is really important here is that 45 years ago, everything changed. Everything changed. That's what's important here, in my opinion. So, Mags is going to come in. We're going to talk about some stuff. I got some collectibles. I got some flashback stuff. I got things going on that we can kind of share and talk about. And then we'll open up the mic, let you come up in here and maybe have your piece. Maybe throw a couple of comments or thoughts or ideas against the wall. We would love that. That'd be super cool. So, let's do a little bit of collectible stuff here just to get a couple things out of the way. One of my, call it prized possessions. It's one of those unique things that you just don't see, and it's just fun. Like, it's just one of those things that's probably a lot bigger deal for those of us that are, from that era of the 70s and 80s and maybe even earlier, to be honest. So I have from 1978, actually January of 1978, this very lovely copy, and it is a very nice copy, actually, of the Star Wars Mad magazine. Yes, Star Wars Mad. Isn't that freaking great? Look how good Han Solo looks, by the way. Harrison Ford looks really good. Chewbacca and droids are pretty well copied over. I don't think they did such a great job on Mark Hamill or Carrie Fisher. Carrie Fisher doesn't look right, but look at Alec Guinness. Alec Guinness looks so good. It's so accurate. I love that the mask is sort of like kind of wonky on Alfred E. Newman. Yeah. So much fun, right? Star Wars was everywhere, man. Star Wars is everywhere. So I had that. Thought I would share that. Most of my other stuff that's like that is actually from Empire and Jedi. So I don't remember there being too much of a gap in like 79 because there was already the buzz of Empire coming. But the Star Wars stuff at that point, all of the merch was dropping, all of the stuff, there was still so much buzz, but I don't know that there was a lot of theatrical presence. I haven't looked up the actual dates of what Star Wars was doing in box office in, let's say, 78 and 79. Empire obviously just changed the game because Empire raised the stakes. There were stakes, and then the shocking ending. You had so much going on. I came away feeling like Empire, like Vader lied. Like that was how I felt. And then you fast forward 3 more years, and you get Jedi, which was originally called Revenge of the Jedi, and a lot of things were changed. But at the end of the day, it felt like a rewarding close. It felt like, a good, solid trilogy that holds up to repeat viewing to this day. And it's so special. So let me just give you again. This is the perspective that I think is worth noting. This is in June. Star Wars Strikes Back. Beep off. R2-D2 and C-3PO. Lovable Yoda steals the Empire, in quotes, and America's affection. So this is People Weekly. People Weekly. Yoda was big. Look at Yoda. The writer was like, we're going to beep off. It's so funny. They were just like trying to be edgy back in the day. But there it is. Frank Oz making the copy of People Weekly in June of 1980. So right after the film drops in May. Actually, we just celebrated the 42nd anniversary about a week ago. This one's funny because it has a sticker on it. I've never peeled it off, so I don't know if the sticker will come off or not. This is a Star Wars 3 Return of the Jedi. George Lucas and friends wrap it all up. And this has got the mailing label on it. It's got a dollar sticker on it. I don't know where I got this from. I don't know, maybe I paid $1. I don't know. I actually don't remember. I've had these forever. This is May 23rd, 1983. All I know is it wasn't mailed to me. I got it secondhand. It was mailed to someone who lives in Portland. So there you go. Time magazine. They call it Star Wars 3 Return of the Jedi. Look at that. Look at George. Look at George. George being the boss. It was everywhere. Magazines, the merch, all the stuff. It was the stuff. This was Empire. This was a 1981. This is right before it drops. Oh, I left my card. There's a card in it. I don't know why. Maybe the person I got it from gave me the card. This one's a little more beat up. The label was ripped off. The Empire Strikes Back. This is May 19, 1980. So again, Time Magazine showing off Vader. This is a Star Wars Galaxy trading card, an etched foil insert card. That came out in the 90s. I don't know why they threw that in. I don't remember if that was just something I got and just threw it in there because of space, or sometimes when you got so much stuff, folks, you just grab it. You don't want anything to happen to it. You know, it could have been that, or I could have got it that way. This one's really, really sweet. I actually was shocked when I opened this. I mean, when I pulled these out today, the color on this, I mean, obviously it has a lot of little stress marks and stuff on the spine. But this is an official poster monthly. This is issue number 3, Empire Strikes Back, with Yoda on the cover. Mysteries of Yoda. The Indignities of R2. Whatever. Giant Yoda poster. This is 1980 as well. Where did I see that date? I saw the date. I thought I did. Oh, well. It's Empire Strikes Back. That's for sure. Obviously. So my point is trying to show you some things. Everything was on these things were just on newsstands everywhere. There was stuff everywhere. But this has got great color. This is really nice condition. It wouldn't really be gradable because of all of the stress marks on the spine, but it's a very, very nice copy to have. It's beautiful. I love it. Held on to that one. And talk about old school sci-fi. If you are old school sci-fi, you know what Starlog is. So this would be June of 1983, Return of the Jedi. Carrie Fisher, the lovely and lethal Princess Leia. Plus, revealing interview with director Richard Marquand. And then it also has Blue Thunder references, Connery and more, the 007s. So it's funny. So that's this part. Really nice. Starlogs, man. Starlogs are the bomb. Starlogs. And then the other side is actually a comic book. It's technically a magazine. But this is a really a nice one. It's probably not gradable. I may have to send it over to my grading pressing guy to see if he can clean it up at all and if it's worthwhile. I don't know if I would sell it or not. I don't know. It's literally considered the first appearance, I think, of Boba Fett. I have to look. I'll look it up while we're talking about it. No, I'm not going to get to that right now. But this is Empire Strikes Back. There were so many things that you could get into, and it consumed everything. There really hasn't been anything. I mean, I know there are big things. Like I talk a lot about 1989 and Batman. I talk a lot about other movies and shows and phenomenon, but I'm like, imagine Batman combined with like American Idol, combined with maybe some Harry Potter. Like it's just because of the time. Like you couldn't, the theaters, it's just different. Like I don't know how to explain, there were not seats. You couldn't get in, you couldn't do things. So that's a little bit. And then I promise, I'll wait for Mags to open my cards. And I've shown this several times, so it's really not that big a deal to show. I'm very proud. I love this series. Dave Dorman did the covers on these. This is Dark Empire. This comes out in the 90s. It's almost like it should be the Star Wars film they should have made. These are beautiful. Every one of them has a sort of like painted cover. So anyway, just a little context of some of the cool stuff that was happening. And we have Mags. Let's get to Mags.
Hi, I'm so sorry.
You're fine, lady. Thanks for we did it. We did it today. It was so sweet of you to even offer to do it tonight after me, bumbling the ball, being ill or whatever. I don't even know if I was technically. I ended up coming back and having a headache and the whole nine. So I wasn't even going to try. So I threw up a little 15 minutes of something just because I'd driven that far. Might as well just whip it in the driveway, at least have a video. But it's good to actually do something that's a little bit more tribute driven. So hope you're doing well.
Well, today did not start off on the right foot for me, but I am glad to end the day with you, Pops, because that will certainly make my night and my day. So
That's right. Plus, we're talking Star Wars. What could be better than that? Not many things are better than talking Star Wars, right?
exactly. What a way to uplift the mood and everything else. I know for me here, the weather's been crap, so this is a good way to really put a
Oh,
smile on my
what
face.
what state are you in? I don't want to
Oh,
get into it.
Virginia.
Okay. Is it just rainy and stuff, or cold, or chilly, or
Rainy, cold. It's been
yeah,
weird up and down. It was like in the 50s the other day, and I'm like, this is Virginia in May. This is weird. So
yeah? We finally got rain down here in Florida. Like we actually kind of like went through like a few weeks of like almost drought weather, and then we suddenly got rain, and
mhm,
it had been dry for so long.
mhm.
The water's not really in the environment properly, so it just makes things like that stereotypical miserable Florida humid. It was just awful for like a few days, even after the rain. It was just so we're kind of in a little bit normalcy, but we're still not getting rain every day like we normally do. We normally get a rain every single day for like an hour or so, and then some days you'll have a lot of rain, but most days, and yeah. So the weather here is just really strange right now too, but not chilly or yeah. Anyway, so but
Yep,
no, it's
yep.
been great. It's been great to see Star Wars trending, even though it may not be for the right reasons. And maybe it's great to see people excited about Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, and yeah. So um, I just think that our Star Wars month idea should stick. I think I love this. This is like it's like George Lucas's birthday, the anniversary of these movies, and I've tried
Yep,
to spend
exactly.
some time hitting on the cultural phenomenon of all this. But what was your again? I think you said it last time, but let's just rehash it.
Mhm.
What was the first one you saw in the theater?
Oh, the first one I saw in the theater, I do believe it was The Phantom Menace.
Okay,
Gosh, they came out in the late 90s. So was
yeah,
like, what,
99.
99? So I was just about 11 years old then.
Okay,
So I was close to 11 years old. So I was a young girl, and I was in I actually, to be quite honest, enjoyed Phantom Menace. I didn't understand the
there's
hatred
no
of it, to be
shame.
quite honest.
I am a Phantom Menace apologist in that I kind of thought, well, it's kind of the same structure as the original story. I mean, it's really not structurally a whole lot of changes. Obviously, Jar Jar's irritating, and it's very clunky with dialogue and whatever. But it's
Yeah.
George. Like at that point, we all knew, or at least most of us. I was just happy to have Star Wars back. I have to tell you, I really, really did. So,
And it's
um,
and it's and it's interesting because my parents, my mom especially, always talked about how she saw Star Wars as
mhm.
in A New Hope in
Yep,
theater,
yep,
and she saw it in theater, so it felt cool as a kid being able to see the prequel movies, especially in theater, and be like, yay, I'm part of the Star Wars,
yeah.
fun, and just
The experience of it all, right?
exactly. So
Uh, I may say your name wrong. I apologize. Is it Cavatino or Cavatano? Anyway, sorry, but I am none to Star Wars now. Well, that's why we were doing this. We want to make
mhm,
sure that we constantly refocus you to know there's two different universes, right? There's Disney Star Wars, and
mhm.
there's the stuff that happened before, and there's no reason to not enjoy what happened before. And also make sure everybody understands and appreciates basically the miracle that was Star Wars, just making this thing happen. It's still sort of like blows my mind sometimes when I think about it.
And
Um,
in the end, it was Star Wars that brought generations together.
mhm.
Generations, got married and had children of their own and passed on that legacy, and that legacy now is starting to pass down their legacy. So it's amazing how it's flourished this time. Now, I understand with the current Star Wars, it's not, for lack of a better term, great.
Yeah, it's just a letdown, right? So
It is.
it's a disappointing mess. You just
Yes.
feel you just feel betrayed
So
a lot by it. But yeah, I
so
understand.
I'd prefer to talk about the good memories that
Hmm.
Star Wars brought us together, and in multiple different ways. Some are more super fans than others, but still in the long run, we all love the franchise, and
Yeah.
especially with the books that Lucas gave us, and the games that Lucas gave us, and just all of it all together. I mean, he was also very much a paradigm in and of itself by allowing fan films to really flourish too.
Yeah, that
And
is
that,
really not talked about enough. You're right.
oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, there's great stuff out there on YouTube. So it's not just Disney Star Wars, guys.
Yeah.
There are actual fan. I wouldn't say actual fans. That sounds very condescending, but there are fans out there who love the franchise so much that they've created fan films. So I would encourage people to support them too. So to keep real Star Wars alive.
Right. So just call me Chi. I can definitely call you Chi. Yeah, sounds great. And Chi says that you're a young kid. There you go,
Yeah.
Max. We've kicked off with you know, what every lady likes to hear. All right. So Phantom Menace is the best of the worst. Of the prequels, I actually prefer Revenge of the Sith. I actually just felt like it was a better complete film, and they delivered on kind of what they were accomplishing. But I'm not going to throw shade at any of the prequels. I kind of treat them as a big lump. I don't have. I have bias also with Phantom Menace because I took our little boys, and
Okay. Yeah.
they were little. They were like 2 and 3, and
Okay.
they literally jumped out of their seat to pretend they had lightsabers in that opening sequence with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. It was like, yeah, the boys were just, if they weren't, all my kids have been raised around Star Wars because I would just have it on, like they were
Right.
just little and it would just be on in the background. So when Phantom Menace came along, now they're just immersed in it, and of course all the toys. Do you remember like the toy sections and how massive these things were, and like for the prequels? I mean, it was just insane.
I mean, do you remember Toys R Us really
Of
filled
course.
like several aisles worth of the Star Wars toys? It was really
It was the
awesome.
whole front of a Walmart. You go into
Oh
Walmart,
yeah.
it's like the whole front of the store was remodeled. Like it was like the size of those like optical lenses sections,
Hmm.
where it's like just a whole section of the store where they had like a Naboo fighter hanging from the ceiling, and you had just
Uh-huh. Oh
hundreds. And
yeah.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
fun.
Now
Did you get a cool toy out of that deal where you're like, oh man, I kept that one or something?
I never really got the toys, I guess. Maybe I was just too much of a young girl, and I don't say that to be, well, I am a girl, I can
Fun.
say this, but I'm just saying I was too much of a young girl to truly appreciate and understand as much as the young boys at the time, if that
Right.
makes sense. But I do remember my brothers, especially my one of my older brothers. He loved Legos, so having Legos and Star Wars
Oh yeah.
combined, and he made like those X-wing models out of the Legos.
Mhm.
It was great. And then a lot of times at home, we had different varying colors of Legos collected over years between my brothers and I, and we would make our own X-wing versions and have our own quote unquote battles in space
Mhm.
and all this other stuff. We would make
Yes.
Y-wings and X-wings and
It's so
it was,
great. It's just
yeah,
so
yeah,
much fun that it just has like this sort of limitless to its universe for a kid. I've
oh yeah.
Because now I'm so old, as you may have not noticed, but I'll make sure you know. Uh,
You're
I've
21
grand
forever.
I'm on the inside. I'm more like a 7-year-old, if you ask my wife. Um,
There's nothing wrong
uh,
with that.
I have grandkids now, so I'm like
Hmm.
they're like kind of getting into it. So with New Hope,
Hmm.
the 7-year-old's like, that's my favorite ship, pops. That's my favorite. It's always talking about the Falcon. I said, well, buddy, that's the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy, buddy. That's why you like it. It's so awesome. And then my granddaughter's 5, and I've explained that because she loves princesses, and I said, well, but you haven't seen her the real princess, right? She's Princess of the Galaxy. And like, I mean, the princess you've seen are cartoons, but this is the real Princess of the Galaxy. So she
Hmm.
wants to. So I had on Phantom Menace because my grandson wanted to watch the pod race. I kept explaining that was her mom, that was the queen. She's like, yeah, I don't care. Get back to the princess. It was just, she was just not having Padme at all. She was like, no, put Princess Leia back on. I want to see her shoot a stormtrooper and talk back to Vader. And it was just my granddaughter embodied, and actually she is born on Star Wars Day. Yesterday was her birthday, so she
Oh,
just officially turned 5. Yeah, I was so giddy when she was born on Star Wars Day. I battened her. I was so giddy that she was born on Star Wars Day.
that's so cute though, because then hopefully she does, turn into a, a fan of the franchise, and it would just be really interesting and cool just to have
Yeah,
that theme on your birthday and all that fun stuff.
absolutely. Zenzel's hands here. Hail. Hail,
Hail,
hail, hail. Y'all are
hey,
welcome to come in here too. Feel free to click the little thing. Even if you just want to say hi or tell us a little story or tell us an experience, we're more than happy to this is an open celebration is how I look at it. So there
mm-hmm.
might be hope in Everest Lucas since she is George's biological daughter and whether or not she picks up where her father left off. Listen, I just hope that she can enjoy what dad has done and can decide if she wants to try to continue down that, become a filmmaker, explore just being a figurehead, an ambassador for Star Wars. I mean, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure what the rules are with the legality of, dad sold it, but reality is she could still just be a great ambassador of Star Wars days and Star Wars celebrations and fan events and things. It doesn't have to be we don't need to be anti-Disney. We can just celebrate what we like. And I think that's what I'm trying to focus on the last few weeks. It's like, look, can we just focus on what we enjoy and not get caught up in all the, because the negativity stuff's not going to stop. We can all pick on the negatives, but let's just spend some time talking about the positives.
And not everything is not without its criticisms. I mean, there were criticisms even back then of the original trilogy, and there are
Oh yeah.
criticisms of the prequel trilogy, as we all know, especially when I grew up. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's really about the individual and what they truly like and what they truly, what their preferences are. And I don't mean that in the pronoun way. I mean as in what is something that attracts you to the franchise. I always hear different things from different people. It's not necessarily, yes, the movies draw them in, but people love the clones, and
Mm-hmm.
then they love the Republic Commando books, or
Sorry, I'm trying to get our
they
video
already
ready.
they're more of a Timothy Zahn fan. Timothy
Right.
Zahn fan, and it's
Yeah.
just, or they're more a fan of the comics, or there are those who are more leaning towards the video games. And not everybody loves all the video games. They're definite huge KOTOR fans. But I'm sure there are people out there, because we're not all the same and we don't live in an echo chamber, that they may not like KOTOR. They may like more of the X-Wing type games, or we're all very vast and different in what we like. I think the majority of us prefer the better Star Wars, in my opinion, because at least there seemed to be a lot more depth to the stories. But
Sure.
that's really, but I think you can't deny the fact that there are people who do like current Star Wars. So yeah, it is what it is. But at the same time, we all are all individuals, and we all prefer our own what we like. So
I,
I mean,
I
at
quote
this point,
my I
go ahead.
quote my younger son because he'll say he said this a while ago about Phantom Menace. I love
Mhm.
it for all the wrong reasons, Dad. And meaning because of the experience and the nostalgia, and it was his
Oh
first
yeah.
one like yours and all of that. It's like it really doesn't matter that I know that it's not as good as the other films in the prequel or even the original. He's like, it doesn't matter. It's special because it was my introduction. It was where I really where it took off for me personally is what he basically means. So
And it's
uh, it's
oh, go
also
ahead.
saying what you were saying. Like I'm more video games. Like yeah, it's cool,
Yeah.
man. I'm totally down. I understand.
Yeah, and there's so many of us out there who have our personal preferences to things. And I mean, some people are just more of the Lego fans, so it's just,
Sure.
it is what it is. We can't all sway. I mean, yes, we need to look at
Have
things
you
objectively, but at the same time, I've occasionally liked things that are dumb and not really the best
we
storylines. But you know
can't
what?
have
I
guilty
I enjoy
pleasures.
it. So
We
it's
can't have guilty pleasures. I have said for
exactly.
years, other than people in this little genre circle, most people don't get it when I talk about how much I love Tron. They just don't get it because it's just
Hmm.
not that, it's like it doesn't age particularly well. And it's kind of simplistic and whatever. And it's like, no, but I love Tron. I love Tron. So it's anyway. War Monkey's here. Welcoming you back,
Hey,
Mags. There
War
you are.
Monkey.
Hail, 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 War Monkey. You're welcome. Come up in here. No problems.
Don't be shy, y'all.
have you ever gone to a Star Wars celebration or one of the giant conventions that are very Star Wars centric?
No. Of course, I'm in Virginia, and Star Wars celebrations in California. So it's a little distance.
Yeah, Florida's had
it would-
them, but it's been a while, so we're due.
Yeah, it's a little distance, and the last time I looked on the website, yeah, it's super expensive, and I
Hundreds
can't.
of dollars.
And it's almost like, especially today's times, you have to look at your budget and look at your money and what you can spend and what you can and cannot do. So, I mean, I do plan on going to conventions. It's just I have to spread out my money wisely. And unfortunately, Star Wars Celebration is just not on that list. So
look at you.
But I get you.
You got people welcoming you up in here, and with
Hi,
that,
hello.
Hey, welcome.
Hi.
Hey.
Thank you. How are you, Mac? How are you, Pops?
I'm good.
Very blessed. Very good. Thanks for hopping in. Tell us a little bit about your one of your biggest Star Wars memories or something.
Oh, I think my biggest one that I can remember was, like I said, like in a celebration with Lucky, that I had never seen Star Wars up to my 10 years old. And I was like looking at all the plushies that my cousin used to have. And one of them was of Yoda. And I told like, what is this? And she told me like, that's Yoda. Who's Yoda? And she said like, oh, have you never seen Star Wars? And that was a Sunday I actually watched the 3 entire movies back to back. So, and I was completely hooked up since that moment. Especially because it was, I love the lightsabers. I was kind of like a guy that loved, as a kid, martial arts and all that. And I was like, oh, I love those things. What are they? And that's how it started, actually. I was a big fan more of the games, actually, other than the movies. I love the movies, but the games were my go-to way to actually understand of Star Wars. Up to this day, I still love Star Wars Jedi Academy for the PC. And I was gonna look it up because they just released a new edition for the Switch, and I was like, I need to have that game. And last week I bought it, but I still need to play it again. I was like, oh, I'm gonna play it as soon as. And this is the funny part, because here in Argentina, 25 of May, the celebration of Star Wars and all that, it's actually an Independence Day to us. So yeah, it was like, oh, that's kind of fun, because it's like we actually like celebrated on our own jubilous moment of independence, and at the same time, it's the same day that actually their villain fought for his independence. I was like, oh, it works. So yeah.
So, when Mags, you were talking about like people like all sorts of different elements of this, and you were coming in with your great example of video games and things like that. When I was at Star Wars Celebration this one time, a lot of people will pose. They'll cosplay, dress up, and they'll pose out in like the atrium areas of these convention centers. And I kid you not, this one group had an emperor who looked like a double. Like, it was insane. And I thought to myself, first off, I was in awe of how great it was, but I was also thinking to myself, who would dress up like the emperor? Like, it just seems like it wouldn't occur to me to be an option. What is is there a weird character or a character that people wouldn't normally think of, a non-popular character that you're like, I just really have a soft spot for that one. I really like that one. Mags, you got one?
Oh gosh, you're putting me on the spot with this one.
All right, well, and you got one. You got like a weird one first. I mean, I love Jawa. I was when I was a little kid. The Jawa scene is one I remembered. I can close my eyes and be back in the theater watching the Jawa scene where they capture R2 and he sucks up into the sand crawler. And in October, we went to a Halloween haunted house over in Indiana. I don't remember anything about the Halloween haunted house experience except for the person that was letting you in at the door. He was a full-size man in a Jawa costume where you couldn't see his face, and he had light-up eyes. This is in 1977. So I was in awe of this beyond all get out, and I remember it to this day. Awesome. I have a soft spot for Jawa. I do.
I mean, how can you deny them going like ooh teeny?
I know.
It's just
yeah.
I think really, for me maybe as a kid, I was maybe I would say I'm not sure now because it's probably much different. But as a kid, because I was so young and much smaller, probably I would have loved to have been dressed up like an Ewok because I thought they were cute. But then later in life they turn out to be actual murder bears when you're an adult.
Murder bears. They're rocking murder bears. Yeah.
I mean, go ahead. So,
No, my soft spot was actually I know it's kind of funny because I was like that character only lasted for 5 minutes, and I was like I wanted to know more about him. He was a slumlord, Jabba the Hutt. I wanted to know more about him, and he was killed so easily, so quickly. I was like, God damn it! I wanted to know more about him. He looked like somebody that actually ruled an entire kingdom. He had like minions. Let's just be called it like that. He had everything around it, and just he lasted for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
In the movies, at least. Then I think there was some kind of explaining into the comics, but I never read the comics entirely. So
Yeah. There's
still,
some extended universe novel stuff, but I didn't read them. I just know of them. So let me put a pin in and go back to something we were talking about. Chi brought it up. It says Kamran Pasha was kind of done wrong with the animated series of Tron. Yeah, it's rough, man. I'm a fan of Tron. Just hope a third movie eventually gets done. At this point, Chi, I'm kind of hoping that maybe it doesn't. Let's hope Disney can be a little better guided before they do it. They were really close on 2 different occasions and it fell through. Just so you know, it was really close.
Hey, Pops, I have a question for you. Have you ever seen anybody when you've gone to conventions? Have you seen anybody dress up like the Death Sticks guy from the Attack of the Clones? Remember when they're in the bar area and he's like, "Would you like some Death Sticks?"
Oh, I don't think so. Yeah, it's funny because you say that because a lot of times those type of interesting.
Sorry.
I don't really see. I remember maybe one Greedo, like one maybe. But those sort of esoteric characters would be so cool to see. I don't think Death Sticks guy made the. I don't remember a Death Sticks. The coolest experience I ever had, I got sucked up into a trooper march where the 501st is there with everybody dressed up like troopers, and they had them all lined up, and I'm filming. And next thing you know, they did a march, and I just kind of got sucked up into the march. And at that point, I was done. I called my wife, so I'm coming back to the hotel for a while. I got to take a break. She's like, "Are you okay?" I says, "It's not going to get any better than that for a minute, so I'm going to take a break because I was on such a high that I'm watching hundreds. I'm talking about hundreds, like probably like 300 people dressed up as stormtroopers doing this march. It was like blown away. And I kid you not, to this day, I cannot find this video. I have to have a clip of it somewhere. I would never have deleted that. It's only like 2 minutes long because obviously they march past you, but
well, it brings into perspective too. Granted, it's a fantasy series, and you're seeing it on screen in the movies. But just can you imagine physically being in that moment if it were real like that? And then that's a good perspective because in reality you felt that. So it's just, it's really cool.
It was crazy.
Yeah, the good thing is they were all good guys because if they were bad guys, you will not be so impressed. You'll be like, "Oh, this is gonna go wrong in 5 seconds."
What Monkey saying, Hazy?
Monkey.
So earlier I showed off some of the magazines and stuff, trying to continue the shtick I have of like the scope of the movie shaped culture for so long. Like there's like I have copies of like Time magazines, things like that. I'll just briefly. This is one I might probably enjoy. There's a Mad magazine.
Oh, nice.
So it just shaped culture was my point. Like this never went away for years. So, and I promised Mags that when we did this stream, I would show them. And I'm going to open the box.
Oh,
these are original.
Oh,
Empire Strikes Back trading cards.
Nice! Wow, look at that artwork.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
The stickers are extremely hard to find in good condition, and I'm so lucky. I like this one because it's. I love this one because Harrison and Mark Hamill are on it.
Nice.
Yeah,
wow, look how cool. Look how young they looked. Even
it's crazy. It's crazy. So these are kind of a pride and joy. I gave my original New Hope ones. I have because New Hope they had like different series that came out, so they're different colors. So there's like blue and red, orange and yellow, whatever. And as a kid, I had a lot of those. But as an adult, I don't remember when I bought them, but somebody had some, and I bought them. And kind of, I wasn't going to put a collection back together. It would cost a fortune, but it was reasonably priced back then. And anyway, I gave them to my son. He's just, it's like it's one thing he has that's kind of original. I was looking for a Boba Fett in this. This is a beautiful set, though. What was really cool about the trading cards for us? Well, this isn't Boba Fett. This is Vader with Dengar. But what was interesting was they have all of this stuff on the backs, and that's what we enjoyed as kids, because we didn't have an expanded universe yet. We didn't have, you could read the novel, but it would be like when New Hope came out, the cards told you how old they told you how old Chewbacca was, and they told you more details about how tall they are and things like that. So it was just, again, like you were saying earlier, Max, the universe is just so wide open.
Oh yeah.
These are the reason these are worth a lot, or if you see some that are at a convention and that they're cased and they're graded, is because if you notice, see how the blue lines on the side, they're not always centered, like one side's off. That's the problem. If you find them, it'll be graded as a quote PSA 10. They'll be worth a fortune because you can't find them. It's perfect. I mean, if it's a PSA 10, you won't probably spend pretty much $100 for any card in the set, even if it's just a generic card, just because you can't get them. They didn't print like that back then. So, yep. Cards, comic books, magazines. It was crazy. It was crazy. So, Pacific 414 is here. Hey, man.
Hey.
Feel free to hop in. I know you did your stream last night. I wasn't able to finish mine, so we kind of decided to just do it now and reboot. But feel free to come in here and share some stories and thoughts. So,
does anybody remember? Oh gosh, there were so many games back in the day, and again, I was a young girl then, so I was trying. Mostly my brothers were more into it, but I still loved the movie and the franchise. I mean, I was more of an OG fan at that point because I think I probably wore out the VHS tapes more than anything else back in the day.
Right.
But does anybody remember the game? It was a Star Wars game. It was played on the PC. And it was almost like a sim, like a civilization type game in a way where you can play either the Alliance or the Empire, and you have to, build ships and protect your planets and everything else. Does anybody remember that?
I remember seeing it, but I remember not even the name. It was so bad.
I can see it in my head.
I think it was released back in the day of Warcraft 2, if I remember correctly. I'm gonna look it up because I cannot even remember the name. I know I played it.
I think it was a little earlier than that.
Soul Assassin's just
no, I don't think it was called Sim War Soul Assassin. Let me see if I can look it up, because I remember my brothers playing that game a lot, and I think it was on either a Windows 98 game. Like it was just kind of it was kind of that far back.
They were cutting edge. They were cutting edge with everything they did.
Yep, and I could hear the menu music in my head, and I can see some of the screen, like where all the windows were of it, but I don't remember the name of the game. So it's just.
I was going to look up. Did you guys know there was like an original? So arcades were still a big thing back then, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's all the standing arcade consoles and stuff. Star Wars one was next to impossible to play. I'm going to pull up a picture. Maybe I can find it. You sat it was a big sort of cockpit, and you sat in it, and you had it was almost like a steering wheel, but it's made to be like a TIE fighter or an X-Wing. And part of the game was you would be down in this trench flying this thing. And it was so cool. And yet it was also like impossible. Like it was insane. I was trying to see if I could find one vintage. This one says vintage. I'm not sure that's the right one. It is Vader on the side. I'm not sure if that's the original one or not.
Yeah, I think it sounds very familiar, but I'm not quite sure.
That's what it kind of looked. It kind of looked like that. I can't guarantee that's what the original ones looked like. This was the graphic though. It was so primitive. It was so impossible because you're flying, the stuff's just shooting at you, and you're just like, oh my gosh, it was crazy. But
was this a PC game too?
Yes,
they probably adapted it for a PC game, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry, Pacific is actually correct. It's Empire at War. The one that I play, at least, and it's in 2006, the game.
Empire at War? Yeah, Soul Assassin says Empire at War. Pacific says as well.
Okay.
Empire at War. Oh, it's fascinating. Best Star Wars game was Pod Racer for the N64.
A
Fascinating.
lot of people love that game. I only love Shady Academy and KOTOR just back in the day. But
I
yeah.
I don't even remember the games because I wasn't into video games, and my kids they went through phases, so I don't even know the name of the games they played. I just remember going around and doing all the different things. The one I enjoyed was similar to that one. Came along much later, and it was in like a Chuck E. Cheese, and you could play that one with. Well, so the kids were playing. I was always trying to sneak away to play the Star Wars arcade game or whatever, where you're flying. You would be a snow speeder trying to attack the AT-ATs and things like that. But I wasn't really very good at it. It just for some reason video games and I just can't click. I just wasn't good at it. So
Mm.
Oh, I love those kinds of games because you actually have some kind of progression, and especially in Jedi Academy, that you actually become a Jedi or you can become a Sith depending on what you do in special places. Like each decision to kill a person or not do it like that is that's
okay.
what is great because it was the first experience that you actually had about making your own choices and become or either a Jedi or Sith, and you can even choose who will like teach you more and all that. So it was great. So you had to like choose, and in the ending was even greater because how is it called? I can't remember the name. The other day. Sorry, I'm really bad with names. Uh, one
It's
of the
all good.
biggest villains.
I'm too.
Yeah, one of the biggest villains of the what it will be like the third movie was not the Emperor. Somebody else. I can't remember the name. Damn it! The other day, I can't remember it. I'll probably
Well,
remember like 5 minutes from now. That's
that's
what
fine.
happened.
Soul Assassin says the arcade game was added to the Rogue Squadron game, and then he praises
Republic
KOTOR 1
Command.
and 2, Republic Commando, Shadow of the Empire. I remember
Yeah,
Shadow of the Empire, and Republic Commando are all good. Yeah, yeah, that's
yeah.
awesome. And then never tried. She says never tried playing the game. 4 tokens or $1. The teen in the early 20s growing up were precious. Yeah, bro, I know. I totally understand. I was an adult. I had kids. I could afford to at least play a little bit. My wife didn't get too mad. She was usually pretty cool about it. The kids wanted to play more in the tubes and the balls than they wanted to play video games anyway. So it was more about money for me. So I was allowed to play a little bit. So that's good. That's awesome. All right. So everyone has like a Star Wars shirt or something that is sort of like the special one. Like if you were, if you guys were on camera, you got your one shirt, you're like, I got to wear that. Or you're going to go to Star Wars Celebration. Oh, this is my shirt. Who's on your shirt? What's on your shirt?
Oh,
Mm.
so
I know you love it how I get you. This is my Smuggler's Bounty one. It's so weird and just quirky. It's got the little ones.
Oh, but it's cute. It looks
I know. It's
like a
very
cheap
juvenile.
version of Darth Vader, and it's cute.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, there's a Chewbacca one I have as well, but the Vader one, they just came through the Smuggler Bounty box they sent me at one point or another, and I kept the shirts. So
So okay, I live in Argentina, so the only way to actually get a shirt was when my godmother went to USA, and she got me one of the Muppets and one of the Star Wars, as a gift. And the only one that I could get, like she said, okay, I found you the only one that I could get, like it will fit you because I was a big boy at 14. I'm still a big and fat man nowadays. So, and up to this day, I still can use it because it was real big. And it's a shirt that I have it right now. It has a picture. It says The Empire Strikes Back, and only that. In the back, it says the year and the release date. That's it. That's all that it has. But if I could choose, I would probably like choose one from Luke Skywalker with the lightsaber. But here in Argentina,
cool.
there's not a lot of that. I'm not joking about that. It's like if you go to Star Wars and buy something Star Wars, they will only have like Disney right now. Like they go through trends. Sorry, and after it disappears completely. Like I found one pinball machine of the original Star Wars that it was like $10, and I was like, okay, $10. It's not much. I should buy it. I turned around, asked for a guy, and one guy already like grabbed it and was buying it. I was like, oh, it's like if you find something Star Wars here, it's kind of like Mission Impossible. I'm not joking.
Well, you should DM me on Twitter and tell me your shirt size and give me an address, and I'll see if I can round something up for you. We can hook you up, man. We can say it'd only be appropriate to have you come on my show, and I can hook you up with a shirt. So throw me your information. I'll see if I can find some. I can't guarantee it, but I'll be in touch with you and let you know if something sends on your way. You never know what I can find.
Dude, you can find it, but that's the biggest problem they have here in Argentina. They charge you the shipping is like 300 to $400
Yeah, no,
for
no,
anything. I'm like,
I got,
what?
I got other shipping. I got the hook. I ship all the time.
Got it.
No. There's global shipping in these flat rate boxes now, so I can. If you're right, I'll let you know. If you're right, if they go, it's gonna be $100. Like, listen, bro, you're not getting your shirt, but I tried. So just let me
Okay,
know.
okay,
Just let me know.
okay.
I'll
We
look
will
into it.
talk. We will talk. Don't worry.
Okay, hit me up
But
on-
I'm not joking about this. I was like, I got one day. I went to see the original, the Disney trilogy into the
Yeah.
movies, and the first day they were like giving away things of Star Wars just as
Sure.
prizes, and I was like, okay, let's just do it. And I won one of those prizes, and I was like, oh, this is bullshit, because they gave me a T-shirt for a little kid, and I was like. But the prices said that it was like, yeah, but that's what they took you because you got like third prize. And I was like, but I don't have any kids. And then they say,
Ah.
well, okay, keep it anyway. And I just keep it. So I have it there, but it was like I could never use it. I could not even, because it's Disney Star Wars. Sorry, but I don't like
Hang on,
it at all.
I gotta lean out of screen to get something.
But the worst part that the first prize was an actual lightsaber from the original Star Wars. It was
All right. Well, Zoltan, I can't. If I don't send you a shirt, here's what I'm going to do. You've been on our stream. You joined us. You're the first one to join us. Max and I are having a blast. Here's what I'm going to do. This came from a Smuggler Bounties boxes too. It's actually a luggage tag, but I've never seen another one, so I don't even know. Maybe they're on eBay. I don't freaking know. I don't care. A Boba Fett.
Oh, that is nice.
So, like I said, hit me up on Twitter. Give me your address.
Oh,
I'll
that
throw
is
it in
nice.
an envelope for you. I'll mail it. It ain't gonna cost me more than like $10 or something. So there you go. It's my thank you for
Great, man.
making our day so
Dude,
special. Okay?
Dude, you can ask anyone that is here. Probably Pacific can tell you. I don't mind. I like to go into streams because if somebody's like doing something, I'm going and just talk a little.
Let's have
I
fun.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Pacific should
that's-
be up in here. I'm disappointed. Pacific should be up.
Yeah, the bet. I saw the yesterday stream and I was like, they were talking. I don't want to enter because I'm gonna be like talk about games, and they were like talking about the movies and the
Right.
comics and all that. I was like, I only know about the games so much, and not so much about those things.
It says
So,
you used to play X-Wing and TIE Fighter on the PC back in the 90s. A
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of people did. Yeah. That was a huge deal when that landed. And Pacific would want a Han Solo shirt, I assume is what that's referenced to. And have to go mom stores for the old Star Wars merch. Yeah. It's rough finding vintage. And actually the problem is even on vintage, they'll sneakily take pictures to make it look better than it is if you buy it online. So it is really tricky to find good vintage Star Wars merch. Daryl, my buddy, come on up in here, bro. Tell us
Daryl,
the
come on.
story.
Let's do it.
And Gray is here as well. Wakazashi Tiao. So I remember the original Star Wars arcade game, flying down the Death Star trench with the music blasting and Ben Kenobi. Yes. It was so amazing. But it was like, again, as a kid, yeah, we were in over our heads. We know what we were doing.
Well,
y'all come up in here if you want. Come up in here.
I remember one of my favorite games I used to play back in the day, and it was during the Phantom Menace days. It was called, and I finally figured out that title's name, not the other one, but it was called it was a Jedi Power Battles. Star Wars, Star Wars Episode 1, Jedi Power Battles, where you could play as like Adi Gallia, Mace Windu, and Plo Koon. And as well as Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi. But I remember playing that game. It was so much fun. you get to battle Darth Maul too.
I think the one that I play on the PlayStation 1, it was I don't know if it was that one or the other one, the one that actually starts with droids, that is more of a platform kind of game. I think it was called Jedi Assault.
I think it was either the Phantom Menace video game, or
it
might
probably
have been,
was the Phantom Menace video game, because
or it might have been this one too, because I know it also follows kind of the Phantom Menace movie in such a way where you start off kind of going through and blasting droids first.
No, you were right. It was the Phantom Menace video game. Yeah,
gotcha.
Because I remember it was. This is the funniest part about this game. It was so they didn't understand how gravity works in some places, because most than once I actually like jumped perfectly okay. I touched the landing, like you touch the floor and it just went like flying. And I'm not joking. It just don't fly. I was like, what? And I will lose all the entire life. And I was like, oh, once again. It took me I remember 1 month to actually finish that game. It was a disaster, but it was funny. I was having fun, so I was like, I'm gonna finish it.
Oh, I see. You
But, yeah.
can pick you can
Yep.
pick amongst the Jedi Council who you play. Awesome.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's a
that
cool
that was the
tie-in.
cool. That was
That's good
that was
play.
the coolest part of it. And if you scroll back up, or there's a that's cool. It was a really fun game. I remember that game.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That is so awesome. Yeah.
And you go through
let's
the
see.
movie. You go through the
Daryl's
movie
gonna eat, so
basically.
he can't join us. He's
Oh.
got to feed like a normal human that
Wow.
wants food. Like getting ready for work. Happy Friday morning to y'all. I understand, Gray. Totally understand. But you always know the door is always open. I was actually on his show this morning. We actually did a whole, oh man, hour and a half just talking comic books. I don't usually, you end up, right now all the hype is on TV shows and movies and all that. We don't just sit and actually talk about just comic books. So he took me down the rabbit hole of how I got into it, what I collected, and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, hour and a half of that. So if you go over to his channel and check out what Gray's got going. He has great reviews, by the way. He's a lot more fair than I am. I'm a lot more critical. I'm too much of an OG. I think I just can't enjoy certain things that he's like. But he's got me thinking about Spawn again, which I haven't read a Spawn comic book in a minute. So we'll see. He gives it some poise. Dave Bob. Oh, there's an OG for you. There's a Star Wars story. Dave
Hi,
Bob, you
Dave
can hear
Bob.
if you want. Hey, buddy. And Soul Assassin, have you all played Super Star Wars for the Super Nintendo, the original Dark Souls?
Yes. No, don't make me go that rabbit hole, please.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember that one.
No.
But I'm sure
Yeah.
my brothers played it because we had the SNES. So
That's awesome.
No, don't go that rabbit. Don't.
don't. Oh no! Now I got to.
Yeah.
God damn it, that game. I
Yeah.
hate it.
That's
It
funny.
was a great game, but it was a great game as a platform, but it was so difficult and impossible sometimes because it's like playing Super Metroid but with Star Wars, and it was weird because the mechanics sometimes work, sometimes don't.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
So, did either of you ever dress up as a Star Wars character for Halloween?
Oh, I'm trying to remember. Probably
Mm.
mine was probably Princess Leia.
Yeah.
If I
You
can
pulled
remember as far
pulled
back.
the donut. Pulled the donuts.
Yes. Oh, believe me, I got teased a lot by my brothers. They're like, you can pull the donuts off.
Yeah, you can.
The cinnamon buns. We call them cinnamon buns, I think.
They are cinema buns. Yep. I actually, I had a thing at work that happened because they move things around, and this one area is like this big cubicle area. So you're sitting there's anybody talking or whatever, it just disturbs you. It just is loud and whatever. I went on Amazon and I found these earmuffs that are the muffs. They're like the donuts, and it's just earmuffs. So I put those on for a while. I was wearing those regularly so I could send the message, hey, y'all are being way too loud up in here. So they're in my they're actually in a desk drawer at work. I forgot to bring them. I was gonna put on the earmuffs for at least a photo op. So I love my old SNES. Graduated to Shadows of the Empire on N64. Yeah, Shadows of the Empire came up earlier. People like that game. I remember that game.
I mean, I don't have Halloween here, so I can never dress up as anything. And once they started like using it, like doing Halloween, I was like 25, and they were like, nah, not anymore. But I do have like I used to do a lot because I found in a flea market that we have here in my own town, where I found 2 lightsabers for like $5.
Yeah.
And one day, actually, they did like a little party of dress up and all that. And I just found like a little cape, and I had a cape. I'm not joking. I had a cape. I had it made for myself, and I had like all those things. And I just bought like a hoodie and everything. And I just went into like, let's just call it like, I didn't want to do it like Darth Maul, but I had to paint my face. So when I paint my face, it makes no sense at all. So I just said like I was another Darth, and I never could know anyone because I just created one. It was back in the day that I didn't even know that the expanded universe existed. So yeah, I should have like looked it up if there was another character. So I just say like I was Darth, and this is the funniest part because when I read the name, I laughed myself. Darth Mauler. So when I look it up and Mauler existed as a YouTuber, I was like, oh.
That's awesome. Yeah, Dave Bob will back me up. Whenever we were kids, the costumes were miserable, right? So they're plastic, basically, and they had these masks with like a rubber band on them, so they literally like stuck to your face.
Yeah.
So basically, if you didn't break the mask, it would just last, and someone else would be it next time. You just, my grandfather put another staple in it or something, so we do it again. So I know that we had a Chewbacca for sure. And there's a photo at my mom's house of us as little kids and the Chewbacca costumes on. So I can't deny that exists. But yeah, dressing up's always great. And now Dave Bob says he can rock old Ben. All right, cool, man. Hey, listen, there's no shame in being Alex. Speaking of Alex, thank you for the default transition. We will go right into this crazy video that I have for y'all. I thought we'd just kind of touch on this weirdness. This is an actual review of the original Star Wars. This is the BBC. This was
Ooh, this could be a treat.
This was something. I was like, what? So anyway, so here we go.
I think you have to turn up the volume.
Yeah, you need to put the volume on because.
All right, let me see if I get the volume up. I had this problem last time with Mags. I apologize. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Let me try save it again and see if maybe I didn't hit the button right here. Let's try share screen, share with audio. Nope, it went away. Hang on.
Yeah, StreamYard works.
Yeah, of course, it just had to be problematic. I'm also a boomer. Who's just being perfectly honest.
It's okay.
We are.
I boomer things, and I'm young, so it's okay.
At least they gave us some. At least our legacy will live on in some sort of weirdness in that regard. Let's see here. All right, share screen, audio, window. Let's try. Maybe it'll play audio now. Let's see. Can you hear him?
No, I can hear you in your microphone, but I cannot hear in the video.
Oh, geez, never mind then. The thing that was always funny.
I can try. If you send me the link, I could try to show it and you share it.
I downloaded it on the computer, thinking that would actually work.
Can you not add it as a banner?
Say again.
We see it. And you can add it as a banner, perhaps, and then you show it, and then we talk after it. If you want.
I can do that. What was interesting is, and I didn't even want to play the whole thing, but what was interesting to me was that the guy is basically saying, yeah, there's these three young actors and whatever, and it's like it's a space story or whatever, but the stars of the show are going to be the robots. It was like, what? It was really, I don't know. I mean, I remember it being a big deal that.
Did he say that for real?
Yeah. I'll get to it here in a minute. I'll play it. Yeah, basically, that's what he was saying. All right, let's see if I can get.
Nope, still no sound.
Yeah, I don't know. I got it turned all the way up. It's just not going. I don't understand what I'm doing wrong with this. Maybe there's a setting on the microphone or something that has to be changed. But
most of the time, if you put it on a second screen and you share the second screen, it will put sound in it, even if it isn't working well or anything. You have a second screen?
I do not have a second screen. He's basically saying it just combines all the best elements of romantic adventure and those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. And then he goes on a little later and he talks about, there's an old wizard and there's whatever. But reality is, it's that's how he refers to Ben Kenobi, his old wizard. And then it's the two robots that everyone's going to fall in love with. So Christian Fandom Geek snuck in. Hail, hail, hail. Saying hey to everybody. And just smash the like button. Appreciate that so much. I never ask people to do things. I always forget. But yeah, I appreciate that liking and sharing and stuff. The door's always open if you want to come in and talk about Star Wars with us for a minute. Let's see. What can we go through next? It was interesting to see how the pause after Jedi happened. Like, it was a very rewarding process. But then there was kind of like that weird stagnant time that happened after. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Where there wasn't any Star Wars. That's when I bought a lot of my stuff, to be honest, because stuff got so cheap. Like you were saying, Zantan, like once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, it's like that.
It took a lot longer here. Like, it took a long time. But once you got to like 90, 89, 90, I was in college or whatever. Even the early 90s, it was a big deal, like when the Timothy Zahn books came out and Dark Empire came out. But I remember going to, it was like a flea market or something, and this guy had the original comic books. Like he had like number
Mhm.
1, 4, 7. I bought them all and like sold the number 1 for like $300-$400. Made like a ton of
Mhm.
money. So I had all this extra stuff for free. It's just
Wow.
it kind of fell out of favor in a way. Like it wasn't like people were anti Star Wars. It's just like people moved on to other stuff, which
Well, it was
sounds absurd now.
yeah. Well, it's funny because what was it? I think Return of the Jedi came out in what 83,
Yeah.
and so therefore by the time 90 hits, it's like a lot of the kids that grew up during Star Wars, they're older now. They're older at that point. And then when it became 1990, and then the next generation was rolling out. So at that point, if there's no new Star Wars to be able to share that on screen and bring kids to, it's kind of like it wasn't really out there to be talked about. But
True.
the 90s really though really hit came out with a bang with the Timothy Zahn, and then all the new Star Wars games, and then especially with all the technology of the consoles, going from Nintendo to Super Nintendo, and then the PC games and everything else, that really helped bring back Star Wars, and then it became the prequels. So there was a good healthy build up in the 90s. But you're right, there was a huge gap between Jedi and then the 90s.
Yeah, it was really, really fascinating. It was interesting. And then with the 90s, it's funny how people get excited over seeing collectibles from like Phantom Menace or whatever, but they were so mass produced. It's like none of it's really that collectible. Like it's just cool stuff to have, but it's not like there's like valuation in it compared to OG stuff where, all that's just rare. It's hard to find certain things. And Gray's saying, yeah, you have good points. And I think it's true. Like at some point, I'm the target audience. I was like 6 when the film came out. You fast forward, now I'm going to be leaving high school and college. I don't really have a lot of expendable money, but our attention span, like in '89, we're talking about Batman. We're talking about Indiana Jones. We weren't talking about, Star Wars. Terminator 2 comes out in the early 90s. So yeah, I definitely agree. You're right. I think it's just, it's a lot of that. So awesome popping in.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
But as a lot of people, Sear Sans a lot. Yeah, I actually got that name because I talk a lot. One of the things is that I don't know, I call her MAGITEK Mags because that's her name to me. But a lot of the times when people actually like tell me what happened with that, it's like I said before and again, it's trends. Sometimes trends actually like long to live 30, 40 years because they're great. Like a movie like Star Wars, back to back, you can see it nowadays and you're still like, okay, that was a good movie. I don't care what anybody says. Even with the prequels, sometimes you put the first one, you're like, the first one, okay. But the second and the third one, oh, those are awesome. And the same happened with a lot of things. That's the problem that Disney actually had right now, because the actual Disney release, they're like, you finish the movie, you're like, what did I learn? Palpatine was still alive. Okay, what else? Snoke. Okay, what else? I think there was somebody called Kylo Ren and he killed his own father, and it was okay, that's it. And you're like, the things that transcend times are because they're great and you kind of remember everything, details, stories. You kind of want, like for myself, for example, I wanted to know more about Jabba the Hutt, or people perhaps wanted to know more about Boba Fett. Big mistake right now, but yeah, anyway. And a lot of people were like, I want to know more about that character. Yeah, Darth Maul. Yeah, I want to know more about him. I want to know more. And when they actually explain to you and expand the universe comic here and there, you kind of go to that moment that you see it the first time. You're like, oh no, I know why he moves this way, or he trained because of this, and all that actually helps into that transcend of time, because you get a little bit more. And if it's made great, like if the comics are great, the stories are great, the games is the same. You kind of understand a little bit more about characters, and then you start to understand it even more. And that's the biggest problem that I have nowadays with Star Wars. That's because it's kind of dying little by little, because they try to push, and this is the problem I have. They try to push content for content's sake, not content to actually explain more details. For example, we all knew that Boba Fett should have died with the giant I can't remember the name. The giant slug. Okay, the giant slug. Let's just call it that. I can't remember the name. And they just played to you like he crawled out of the slug. We don't even know how much time did he took. Like perhaps a week. And he got like captured by the Sand people, and he became a slave. Okay, good. So that's it. Yeah, that's it. And I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, that should have been a little bit more, like a little bit more explanation, please, because I'm like, how did he escape? Oh, he just like burned the thing. They had like a metal. Yeah,
right.
but that's anyway. But that's for
Yeah,
another thing. It's like you want more, even if it is a little bit. You want more. You want like a little bit more explanation. So yeah.
right. And I don't
Yeah.
want to harp on Disney Star Wars too much because yeah, we can all list our issues of how they kind of derailed the train a little bit on a lot of these details, and I
Yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
agree
I'm sorry.
more. No, you're fine. Because Gray says, I wonder how I'd feel with the prequels if I had seen them when if he was a kid. And I'm like, you would love them. You would love them. You're just like, you would be like Mags. You'd be like my kids. You'd be like, that was your Star
I
Wars. And
was
then
a kid when it actually
yeah,
released, and it was
and
great.
just because my kids will talk about like Attack of the Clones, the end of Attack of the Clones when the Jedi are fighting, and that they love the characters like Kit Fisto and stuff like that because it was just like it was their universe. It was like me learning as a kid about the creatures in the cantina. So same kind of thing. It's like the universe just gets big, big, big.
And
Awesome.
it's funny, and sorry, I didn't mean to
No, you're
interrupt,
fine.
but it's funny when I was growing up. So I was 11 years old when Phantom Menace came out. 10, 11. So I was just a preteen, and so I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the pod racing, the Darth Maul fight, even the space battle against the Federation and all this. Not the Federation. The Trade Federation. At first, I was like, "Wait a minute, that is the right term because there's the Federation in Star Trek, and now there's the Federation in Star Wars." So it's a little confusing there. But anyway, so I remember all of that, and I loved Queen Amidala's outfits, and even the Naboo Palace and Naboo itself and everything else. And I wasn't really too particularly fond of the Anakin situation. I felt even then I felt he probably could have been a little bit older, but I wasn't too critical then. And then I got to Attack of the Clones, and for whatever reason, because I was a preteen and getting into high school level of stuff, and boys, I like boys, and seeing Anakin be weird on screen, it just felt really weird to me. So I never really got attached to it. But then I loved Revenge of the Sith. It's really it's definitely the darker of the three, that's for sure. But
yeah, absolutely. So awesome one. It would not be the May the 4th celebration. We did that, but this is more of the actual Star Wars Day. Yesterday was the actual 45th anniversary. Again, it got pushed to today because of I wasn't feeling good yesterday. And yeah, they were filling in the gaps for you there. This is the Sarlacc.
Yeah, Sarlacc is the name. Yeah, of the.
Daryl's calling it the desert sphincter.
Yeah, if you see it the original movie, you're like, okay, what is that? He just swallowed an entire bounty hunter. I'm like, what? He didn't even fight.
Yeah, Dave Bob says the kids are teenagers. So I'd love to know what your kids think, Dave Bob. Were they really hooked on it or not? Are they a little too old? That's kind of what Mags is saying. Like there's kind of like this up and down of what she liked and didn't like based on her age. So, yeah,
it's funny.
Gray's saying that the Darth Maul fight was amazing.
Yeah, I still love Darth Maul. Yeah, I love that.
Truly amazing.
I know. People think was it the Obi-Wan Anakin fight was the best fight, and I don't know. It was definitely an amazing fight. Not gonna lie, but I felt that the Darth Maul scenes were or the fight and Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. I mean, that is the duel of the fates right there, and I know the music corresponds with it. It's just. Yeah. I was just listening to that on my way home. I mean, of course, I was on the highway, so I had to listen to something like that on the highway. But anyway, because I felt like I was doing a Darth Maul battle on the highway.
Yeah. If you can make a 360 with your car, please call me right now. I need to know how.
But anyway, it's both fights. I mean, you got the Anakin Obi-Wan fight, and then you've got the Darth Maul fight, and I mean, those were definitely the highlights in the prequel.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Awesome one likes the cartoons. Yeah, totally agree. Especially that Cartoon Network one that they did. That was freaking amazing. That Clone Wars.
Jenny Tartakovsky. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah,
that style of Samurai Jack, it's awesome.
Yeah,
Clone
Gray
Wars
would
and the
totally agree.
Clone Wars. Yep.
Yes,
Yeah,
Clone
Revenge of
Wars.
the Sith should have been 2 parts, similar to Lord of the Rings movies. That's interesting. I definitely think that you could have easily have reworked Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith to kind of tighten that up. But it's because of the love story stuff. It's just all clunky and it's just not all handled very well. And that's where some of the worst CGI is in some of those scenes and stuff too. So, being an OT fan, I love the prequels. Still do. Yeah,
Yeah, I
absolutely.
mean, I the first one is a little bit slow because a lot of people tell me that I'm like, yeah, it's a little bit slow, but the second and third one are great.
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith actually, like, it's like they say you need to watch the entire trilogy, and I'm like, it's the same with a lot of people with Lord of the Rings. They just say like the beginning of Fellowship of the Ring is really slow, but you're like, did you see it completely? No, I just fell asleep. I'm like, you didn't see it completely, and and I'm
And
like, yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead, Danzel. No,
No,
the extended ones is the actual
It
movie.
changes everything. Yeah. So
Yes.
absolutely.
can you imagine if it just released like the prequels extended version and they had like a lot of things that they never actually added, and up to
Mhm.
this day, this is a gripe of me because mine, sorry. I saw the new version of the original, the OT's movies that had like 3D monsters and all that. I was like, no, I don't like this. It was like, I don't like to see 3D in this movie. This movie has a lot of practical monsters, a lot of practical beings,
Yep.
aliens, and I was like, as I saw a 3D, like I think it was the scene they show like when Luke is about to go and find the robots, like to train the robots.
Mhm.
They show like a giant elephant being alien, something like that in 3D, and I remember that was the second I cut it off, and I said like, "What the hell is this?" And then I looked it up, and I was like, "Oh, re-edition of." A friend of mine actually like lent it to me to see it again, and it said like re-edition with more 3D or something like that. I was like, "Oh no, I don't like this,"
Yeah,
and I gave him to
there was that
that's
new version where some of those things are added when they go to Mos Eisley and stuff like that. They
yeah.
have creatures
Yeah.
walking around and stuff like that. Some of that stuff just doesn't blend well at all. But he
No.
was just
Yeah.
trying to add more depth and stuff like that. And Dave Bob says, the Jar Jar was the thing. Other than that, yeah, that's what
Yeah,
everybody
well,
says. I mean, that's what everybody says. It's
Well,
kind of
and to go back to Daryl's point, I liked the prequels, but I thought they were meh. And as an OG fan, as far as the OT is concerned, I had watched. I mean, that was my world growing up. I had older brothers, so therefore, like,
sure.
that's what I lived on. And then when I got to the prequels, I was kind of let down. Not that I didn't like them, it just I felt that there was something off, and not, I had my own criticisms. But then as I grew older, I still liked them. But then, even more, I like them even more now, because now that I've watched them as I'm older, it's like, I've caught things that I didn't quite remember even when I saw them visually as
Sure.
a child. So it's just, I think a lot of times things change over time. I know people still do have their criticism, strong criticisms of them, and that's fine. A lot of us, like me and like you, Pops, and like Zanzaltan, we all grew up with the original trilogy, and that's what brought us into Star Wars. And then there was the next generation that their Star Wars was literally the prequels. So
Okay. Can I be kind of honest? The original thing that grew up with me was with my brother. Actually, found like a little stick, and I found another stick, and we actually pretended to be like Jedi masters, and that was what I grew
Yeah.
up.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh
And
yeah.
Dave Bob points out that the lightsaber fights are in the best. And like literally,
Yeah.
so I'll be honest with you. I don't watch a lot of if I left my own devices. I will fast forward through a lot of Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones to get to the action and this stuff like that. I just don't sit through. It's been there, done that. Whereas Revenge of the Sith is the one that I will, it plays out more. It just does. That's all there is to it. It's just it's so much. It's just a better film and that kind of thing. And like Return of the Jedi, same thing. I'll skip over Luke going to see Yoda again. I'm like, just keep it moving. We're good. We're just keep it moving. It's okay. I mean, and I'm not being critical or I get hyped up, man. My adrenaline will go through the roof. I start watching these movies, man. I just get so jacked up. It's so much fun, taking me back. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
all right. I don't know what's happening here.
Yeah.
She wants to know if you're an angel.
No, okay, and you
I think
haven't
this is
heard her sing. Have you seen her sing?
An Anakin reference. I think so. Are you
I
an
No, I
don't
think
angel?
she. I
Are
think
you
she
an
actually told her
angel?
that. So yeah,
No, I know. I know.
she's beautiful. She can sing perfectly, and she has a real kind of honest and jerky kind of style of talking. So yeah, she's an angel. Just
Oh,
check it out right now.
Are
I
you
don't.
an angel?
Are you the
This
angel?
is so. I don't know what to say. I'm not good with these things.
We've made her blush, I think. So it's you got the nerds
Thank
asking her
you.
about being an angel. It's fine. So
Oh gosh, that made my day. It's getting better now. So thank
it's
you.
awesome. That's awesome. So um where are you at on how you move forward on this? Because I know that, I don't want to get into the Disney Marvel stuff like that. Like,
Right.
you set aside time now for your OT time? Do you say, all right, listen, it's been like a month, or it's been a couple months, or I just, is it just still like a mood strikes you kind of thing? Because I got to be honest, at this point now, I'm almost like, I need to have a healthy dose of real good Star Wars. Like, the grandkids have been my vice, because my wife is like, well, why do you have this on? They're not going to want to watch this, because, it's like I took a break, because I had all 4 of them this weekend and it rained. Oh,
Mm.
it was rough. So we took a break. We took a break during cartoons. We
Right.
took a break in between some cartoons, and we stuck in New Hope. No, they wanted. She wanted to watch New Hope, but I put in Pod Race and Phantom Menace first, and it's like I thought to myself, I'm just gonna have to put this out on rotation more. I need to have the good stuff more often to keep me positive about it all, because I don't want to ever get bitter. I don't want to ever look at it and go like, I don't want to be that way. And I'm getting that way about Marvel stuff. That's why I don't want this to happen to Star Wars. I got to find a way to stay. If I just have to stay in my bubble, I'll stay in my bubble. Where are you guys on all that, Max? Where start with you, Max? Is it still like, I have to set aside time, or something like it just mood striking me, or how do you? I know we talked about you're a lot more open to Obi-Wan than I am. I'm a little anxious about tomorrow morning. Like, I'm like,
Well,
I don't know.
after news this week, I'm a little. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what scale I'm on with that. But since I really didn't grow up with too much opportunity with discovering the EU
Right.
and playing other games, my goal for now to be able to fill in the gap is to really read really read the good Star Wars, because I do love reading. Unfortunately, I was going to try to read from May the 4th to yesterday the original Timothy Zahn series. I did not get to it. There were other things that cropped up in my life, but I am thoroughly enjoying The Heir to the Empire, and I am halfway through that book. So I am looking forward to more content through there. And then, one of my goals is to actually sit down and play through KOTOR, because I hear so many good things about that. And there's so much good stuff out there already for Star Wars. If people are feeling very bitter with current Star Wars right now, I suggest that instead, why don't you just pick up an old Timothy Zahn series, or play one of the older games and relive that. Maybe do a stream about that, as to going through the details of that. I don't know. I've never really gotten into comics themselves, but maybe I could try to explore that as well. So I'm going through my own journey, because I never really had that opportunity, and for various personal reasons. But anyway, so that's me. I'm taking the opportunity and the time and the space to be able to do that, instead of just sticking with being bitter now. So I'm kind of going back and going through all the nostalgia that everybody else did. I grew up just mostly on the movies. So that's just been my exposure. So I am certainly glad to kind of plunge into the world of the EU and all the other video games.
Megs is expanding her horizons. Dave Bob says,
exactly.
Don't bother with the special edition. I think it aligns with what Zanzatan said about those.
Yeah,
scenes. I don't care for that. I have the non specialized versions is what I use. But what about you, Z? What do you got? What do you do?
Well, I mostly
plugged
do
into the positive.
Yeah, I do exactly the same with any kind of, I went to watch, I'm one of those persons, that goes to watch something that he likes, and if he likes it, he will play a game about it, because I love the game. For example, I went to watch Spider-Man, the last movie, and I was like, I need to play Spider-Man for PlayStation 4 once again. And I started playing again. So I do the same, but it's the opposite if it's bad, because for example, when I finished watching The Mandalorian the first season, I was like, I need to play something about Star Wars or watch a movie or something else. I was so, I know Disney Star Wars, we know, but it was boring, and that was my biggest gripe with that thing. So most of the time, I just do that. I'm like, okay, what do you know about it? It's like I always do the same. The other day, I just realized that I have never seen like 20 movies that a lot of people will tell me like, how could you never see Ferris Bueller's Day Off? And I was like, no, I never saw it.
Yeah,
And they would
how
tell me,
could you
oh, I
not?
should see it right
Do it.
now.
Yeah,
And
you
that's
should.
it.
Yes, you
And,
should.
and that's what I did. I'm gonna do it tomorrow because I need to do some things today. I need to finish Better Call Saul too, but that's another thing. And like I said, it's like that. I'm going to like right now. I'm probably gonna ask you like, what would you recommend about Star Wars? What should I need to read or watch or whatever? And a lot of people tell me like, you need to play KOTOR, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna play KOTOR. Yes, Max is a 100 or 100 150 hours games. You're gonna have to take the time. Just saying.
So I have plenty of time to be able to fill up my space from get positive, good content. Then,
Yeah,
Right.
it's great, and you're gonna love it. I loved it.
Yes.
It's a Mass Effect Star Wars, and it was great. And that's another thing. Like when you realize, even if the Disney Star Wars can bring up, like I always say, to me, Star Trek and Star Wars nowadays, tofu Star Wars or tofu Star Trek. You have a huge plate that is great, 5 stars, everything, and they just put a little bit of tofu, and then they put more until the plate is like a big blob, and that's the problem. They ruined that. To me, it's like I need to go back to the original, to the original 5 star plate that I kind of enjoy it because I say, this is great. 77, 82, all the way, three movies. It was great. And you're like, why do we need this? I don't know, but they need to release it. And it's okay. Release it. Perhaps a lot of people will say to me, like, have you seen The Mandalorian? It was great. And I'm like, no, I didn't like it. Why do you like it? And that's another thing for another thing. Anyway.
Yes.
But
Yes. No, I understand.
like I said, the best way is to go back and perhaps watch another thing that it was great, and that's it. That's what you need to do sometimes. Stop like giving them time.
Oh, he's saying you can burn your own version. I thought there was non-special edition versions that you could get on DVD. I'll have to look into that. I know I have the VHS stuff too, but I don't think my versions they're DVDs. I think that they're
see
the
that
regular version.
I guess I'm curious because after I guess in my mind, maybe I need to look into it better or something. But in my mind, it's almost like, after they were edited in the 90s, I just felt that, so that means these are going to be the same. I don't know why I have this in my head, but it's like, are they're going to be the permanent movies moving forward that are going to be sold or whatever? Because I'm like, I have the original VHS ones that were unedited. Right. So it's just like, I don't want the edited ones. I want the original movies. Yep. So I don't know. I don't know that industry part.
I don't hate the special edition ones nearly as much as most folks do. I just kind of, I guess because it happened during that, like you said, that lull of the 90s. Like I'm just like, all right, fine. They made some changes. I don't care for all the changes, but I can live with it. So I don't tend to make a big thing of it. But yeah, I understand. Yeah, you should listen. The more Star Wars that's good, the better it is for all of our health. So
exactly,
that's
exactly.
Good, so. All right,
and there's certainly a lot of content out there too, and even animations have been made by fans on YouTube. So I would suggest even looking into that if you want current Star Wars. Do that. So.
Yeah, and also just like we were briefly getting into just like the one YouTube video that I don't know why my audio will not share, which no surprise. That's like just how life is right now. Sometimes you just can't get it to work. But just put it in YouTube or in Google stuff from 1976 and 1977. Go total OG, and you'll find some fun, cool stuff. It's pretty crazy. You can see interviews when they're still promoting stuff. There's an article that was written when it debuted at San Diego Comic-Con. There's just interesting reviews and interviews and stuff that just kind of takes you back to, I think, the greatness of what this accomplished, because it just exceeded everybody's expectation and then some. Particularly because it was just so unique. Like it really did things that sci-fi didn't do it until that moment. So, all right. Well, let's start with you, Zanzeltan. Any closing thoughts or any other comments that you want to throw in?
Just one thing that I wanted to say. If you love something, don't care about what anybody else says. If you love Disney Star Wars, enjoy it. Great for you. I will not enjoy it because I'm like, I honest to God, I saw the second season directly of The Mandalorian with EFAP because I needed to laugh myself out of this. And this is the same. If you enjoy it, keep on watching it. I don't care. It's your opinion. It's your time. That's the biggest thing. It's your time. Spend it as you like it. That's it. So yeah, and if it was good Star Wars to me, go back to the OG. That's it.
Soul Assassin says like what you you enjoy and have fun. Yeah, I agree. Listen, life's too short. Life's too short. Have fun, be entertained, and yeah.
And you know, don't. And my advice is, if people are criticizing something, don't let that consume you, because it's okay. And you know what? It is okay for them to do that. That is their prerogative. That is their opinion, and that's fine. But you have your own idea of what you like, and therefore don't let others taint your view. Of course, sometimes yes, truth hurts, but at the same time, it is okay. I like things that are terrible. I don't care. I mean, I don't let that bother me. Don't let others' opinions deter you from liking what you like. So it's all good. Everybody's different in what they feel, and enjoy what you like. So
yeah.
See, we all like Max because she's like that.
We love Max. We love Max. She's the angel. She's an angel.
Yes.
DBZ live action and Airbender live action. So
I love I love Grown Ups, and it's a movie that is actually destroy every time that I see it. And I love that movie because it reminds me of my friends when we get together and do stupid things like that. So yeah, even as 30 years old, we still do the same. The other day we get together and we actually almost break a coffee maker because we were trying to connect it into a plug that wasn't working. It was a disaster. It was funny. We were like, awesome. Okay, let's plug it on. No. It went and all the lights were on down. It was a disaster. It was great. I had fun.
Well, it's been fun. It's been super, super fun. Man, I love all you in chat. You've made this so much more fun by just being here and hanging out with us and interacting with us and that kind of thing. So, Mags, are you doing content yet? You got any content to plug yet? We got any videos from Mags yet?
Unfortunately, May did not work out for me.
Not yet. We're hanging in there.
I know.
She's gonna put that stream, and she's gonna get like 30 people, 300 subscribers, and
it's gonna be insane.
And it's great because
I have 300 subscribers already.
Probably.
No, I think you have 150. I think.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I'm sorry. See, I mean, it's not that I don't care. It's that I'm just shocked that people want to listen to me. So that's why.
We told you why. You're an angel. Shut up.
We should do this on your channel next. We'll just do this. On your
we could do that. We could do that. Yeah.
Throw it up there and just let the door fly open. See what happens. It's fun.
Oh, okay.
And like I said, it's like hanging out at the comic shop. When I was, going to the comic shop nearly every day, it was like, all right, just hanging out at the comic shop. So, what about you, Tan? You do content? What do you do to have some fun with the interwebs?
I do streams every now and again. Mm-hmm. I was gonna do one today, but I did one on Tuesday. So that's the problem. I have the limit of the free market of StreamYard, and that's another thing because I was gonna pay for having the complete experience, or let's just call it, and they just decided that no, you need to pay with this credit card, not this one. I was like, oh, God. Okay. Argentina, thank you. But yeah, I do streams on Thursdays and on Sundays. The Thursdays one called Thinking Outside the Box because I put like a little title, but it just goes everywhere, and I'm not joking, everywhere. And then the Sundays one are about Argentina, my country. It's called can we curse here or not?
I'd rather you not, but it's okay. You can use a substitute word. It'd be fun.
Okay, is that a MF reference from Argentina? It's called. So yeah, that's one. And I explain like foods, economy, things, culture, traditions.
Sure.
That.
Awesome.
So that's it.
That's awesome.
Soul says we're not communists. We love different opinions. Yes, brother.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're not echo chambers. We all are different individuals. So
Max is obsessed with fantasy.
She's called MAGITEK Mags. What did you? It's like.
Oh gosh.
Comes to Texas, keeping the coffee machine away from him. Yeah, it's
Ah,
absolutely. We should all be a little. At least he warned us. He warned us about the coffee. I got to be honest. If he came out here to hang out with us, my wife's not letting me anywhere near that coffee machine, so I feel safe. She's the coffee snob in this family. She's the connoisseur. She ain't gonna let anybody mess with her
Oh,
machine.
I like to make coffee like I like to do it completely homemade. So this time they wanted to do it with that machine because it was a new machine and all that, and and then they would like check the manual and say like you need to connect it to a ground. It was a disaster because they just like bought it, pick it up of the box, and just connected it. It was like no. Anyway.
Well, have fun, Dave. Have fun, Dave. Bob. Those are the memories, man. Doing that kind of stuff's the best, and the grandkids are the best. You can wind them up and send them home. Highly recommend Krigler Coffee.
Nice.
Yes, always plug into Krigler Coffee. There's tons of great coffee. So, well, listen, folks. Thanks again to the chat. All you people hopping in, talking Star Wars. Let's talk positive stuff. We'll be doing stuff like this periodically, and just like I said, just making sure we have. Or uplifting the community and fellowship and family to making sure that we're staying positive. And because who wants to be around the negative stuff like all the time, like Mags was saying, it just gets poisonous after a while. I mean, one thing if you want to try to, be a little critical, learn a little bit, maybe you see things, maybe you find things of somebody saw you didn't see, but anyway. Yeah, people are heading out. Appreciate it again. Soul Assassin for swinging by. Dave, Bob, awesome. Coffee Wars, the prequels. Yeah, Coffee Wars. Awesome with the jokes. It's always the jokes. I love it. Well, you guys take care and be blessed out there. We appreciate you hopping and spending time with me. I'm Pops, and make tomorrow a little bit better than today. And yeah, like I said, just thanks for your time. Like, share, subscribe, all that nonsense as well. Appreciate it so much. So be good. Have a great night.